What's up, college football fans? Sonoy Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by Kef Ciradello. Is that correct? The pronunciation on that last name?
Chardello. That CI is a CH. It's close
All
though,
right.
man. It's been butchered every which way my whole life, but
Awesome.
but
Well, let's keep it going. Well, joined today by Kef Chardello, and he runs the Win Now or Get Bit podcast. It's really great Texas State coverage. If you're a Texas State fan or G5 football fan, I really recommend subscribing and checking out his weekly content. It is great. Anyway, Kev, I really appreciate you jumping on. I know your baby's asleep in the other room, as is mine. Keep the voice level fairly minimum. But man, just jumping into this recapping of the Texas State Baylor game, did that just catch everyone, yourself included, in San Marcos off guard?
yeah, I mean, absolutely. It caught me by surprise. I thought for sure that it would take some time for this offense to gel with all these new players, a whole new system, a brand new coaching staff, and a pretty big opponent the very first game. I thought it was going to take them some time. It seemed like everybody around them thought it would take some time, but the coaches, the players, they didn't think that. I mean, after the game, they're like, we shocked the world, not ourselves. So they were not surprised by what transpired at all. And even when you ask Coach Kinne after the game, like, were you worried about changing up your identity at all coming from FCS to FBS level? And he said, I had the number one offense in the nation. Why would I change it up at all? So, I mean, they were pretty confident in it, but it definitely surprised most people in the college football world.
So when Coach Kinne was pretty much putting all of his recruiting chips into the transfer portal, building this 23 class, and obviously it's kind of shaking out. It appears to anyway. What was the reaction? What were the thoughts around that move? Was it something that you were a fan of and the fans were a fan of? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the big trend. At first, because the way Jake Spavital did it, he kind of lived in the recruiting or in the transfer portal when it came to recruiting. So people were a little burned by that here, and seeing that it happened again. At first, it was like, oh man, okay, is this the same situation as what was going on last time with Spavital? But you just saw it was higher caliber athletes that they were beating teams, some of their peers in the college football landscape for these transfers. They weren't just cast offs that they were getting late in the summer. They were getting some real guys, and not just that, but the volume of it. 53 players for the class is pretty crazy.
53 transfers, correct?
Yeah. Oh, 53 scholarship
Oh,
players. So
50.
it's
Okay, okay.
39 transfers, and then another 7 JUCO, and then another 7 high school players. But yeah, 39 of those are transfers, FBS, FCS transfers. And then it's like 28, 29 of those are FBS. So I mean, it's pretty remarkable what they've done. I think because no, it's 13 are FCS. So that would be 26 FBS transfers. I mean, that's basically a whole recruiting class right there, just in FBS transfers. And this is 2 classes in one that they've gotten. So they completely changed this team. And you saw it on Saturday. This was a completely different team. I mean, they got stomped by Baylor last year, 42-7. They let Baylor rush for almost 300 yards last year. This year they got 108 yards. So I mean, that difference right there, that's the defensive difference. Offensively, I mean, it was fireworks. It was much more than what they had last year when they were averaging 21 a game.
One of the coaches that Coach Kinne brought in was Coach Stutzman out of Utah Tech, formerly at Washington State. When he brought Coach Stutzman on, Coach Stutzman brought one of the receivers from Utah Tech in Joey Hobart. Is that correct?
Yeah, Joey Hobart.
And
They call him Joe
yeah,
Dirt.
yeah. So obviously, Coach Stutzman, he's running the pass game. He's receivers coach, pass game coordinator. Brings over his own receiver, and this guy doesn't wear gloves. What is the thought on Hobart and your Coach Stutz's approach to this? I guess what you call it, a run and shoot, a air raid offense. What do you guys call this offense?
Yeah, I've heard it compared to the veer and shoot, like what Art Briles ran at Baylor. You see it a lot of high schools in Texas run it, a veer and shoot where it's wide spreads and just a fast paced offense. But yeah, it's what they've brought us, specifically Hobart. I mean, I know when they signed this 53-man class, and I was watching all their huddle tapes or their highlights from the college they were at before. He's one that really stood out to me just for his route running. And the no gloves thing is pretty crazy too. You don't see that a whole lot. But they just bring a more complex route running scheme with it, specifically Hobart, when he gets in there, as far as what him and Stutzman bring. I mean, it's that fast-paced offense that they like to do, that Mac Leftwich at the offensive coordinator, where they like to just, as soon as the play's done, get to the ball as soon as they can. It's not an air raid by any means. They run the ball a lot. I mean, one of their big plays on Saturday was a 65-yard touchdown by Ishmael Mahdi. So it's much more balanced than an air raid, but it still has that fast pace where even though they don't win time of possession, they still get a ton of plays off. I mean, they had 69 plays and 441 yards total offense. So it worked on Saturday. There's a lot more season left, so we'll see how it works out for the Bobcats.
Yeah, it definitely worked on Saturday. That was pretty fun to watch for a G5 football fan base. So in closing, so UTSA is the next game, which probably preseason was, I would think, penciled in as a guaranteed loss. I mean, just going off whatever. So now you guys have beat Baylor. UTSA is coming off a close loss to Houston. I think the spread is last time, maybe like UTSA is a 9-point favorite. What are your thoughts on this game, this UTSA game, which is probably the G5 football game of the the week in America? I think, two Texas teams going at it. But anyway, what is your thought on this game? And do you think Texas State will cover or even win this game?
Yeah, I would say so. I'd have to look at some of the other G5 games as far as game of the weekend. Has to be, though. You would imagine it seems like it's a pretty good one. Maybe it would have been if UTSA won. They did lose that Houston game. But I am, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid after what I saw on Saturday from Texas State. I believe in this team. I think that they are much better than I anticipated already. I thought that this offense would catch on eventually, but after some time, but doesn't seem like they need any time. They all figured it out. They've all got some real good players, and they might be catching UTSA at a good time. I mean, Frank Harris, he struggled pretty good against Houston, but he's still a really good quarterback. So it's hard for me to even doubt Frank Harris. I mean, what he's done over the years, he's beaten the Bobcats.
Don't doubt him.
He's beaten the Mean Green. He's like it's year 7. Like he's just gonna pop back up like the Undertaker and do some more stuff. So it's hard for me to fully say that Frank Harris will struggle again, because I just don't think he's a bad player like that. But if it is, I don't know if you saw any of those reports about what happened in the spring, but he did have another surgery due to an infection from one of the many surgeries he's had over his career, lots of injuries, and he almost medically retired from football altogether. And so I don't know if there's still some lingering issues with that. Maybe it's a mental issue with that, and that played into Saturday, or maybe it was just, first game jitters, whatever it was.
You're about to make Vegas move the points if they listen to this.
Hey man, the points have been moving anyway. It was like 13. You just said it was 9. I was like, wow, all right,
maybe
it's 9.
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
If I was a gambler, man, we can't gamble here in Texas yet. So unfortunately,
no, yeah, you're right.
But wink right over there.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I believe in the Bobcats, and I might be too close to the situation, but I really do think that this team is much better than UTSA. At least they thought last week. Maybe they're not underestimating them this week, but it's going to be a much tougher opponent for the Roadrunners than they expected.
You have a point prediction for the game?
Point prediction. I mean, it's hard after Saturday, but I have to imagine Texas State's going to put up a lot of points. This offense is just going to go. But this offense can counter, especially on this Texas State defense. They did a really good job on Saturday, but they're pretty feast or famine. if they don't get to the quarterback. The other team's going to get some big plays and get in the end zone. So I would say another high scoring type one, maybe similar to that Baylor score that we saw, higher than what they had last week against Houston. I mean, we saw Tech State UTSA play a few years ago. It was like 51-48 was the final score. UTSA won. So let's have some fun. Let's say like 44-41 Texas State.
That would
High
be
scoring.
fun. That would be fun. Kev,
Probably
thank
wrong,
you so much.
but gotta have fun.
For sure. Thank you so much for jumping on. Best of luck with all the covering of Texas State this season, and I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday.
Hey, back at you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.